Hey everyone! So recently I saw artwork by two guys, Hari and Deepti, I think is how you pronounce their names. They make these awesome light boxes with paper cut designs inside, and I was super inspired to make some of my own. And of course, I'm going to show you guys how I did it and how you guys can make your own too. So I ended up putting together 3 tutorials for you guys. An advanced version, where I make the box and I freehand the design. An intermediate version, where I use a store-bought shadow box and trace the design, which for this one that I made, I'm going to upload the templates for the layers. And an easy version, where I make the box, however, it is made with more easily accessible materials and tools, and I make a super easy, simple design. So let's get started. Here's what you'll need for the advanced version. White or off-white cardstock, LED light strip, a ruler, pencil, scissors, an X-Acto knife, foam core board, glue, wood, a miter box, a saw, a drill. Determine the size you want your box to be. The advantage of the advanced version is that you're not limited to a pre-made shadow box size. I still ended up making mine the same size as my store-bought one though, 6.5 by 6.5 inches. Draw a border around the inside of your design about 1/4 of an inch wide, and then draw the first layer of your design. And cut. I consider this way of building the innards as advanced because it's freehand, so you have to be able to picture how each layer will affect the previous one and the next one. Place the layer you just cut onto a fresh piece of cardstock and start sketching the next layer. Remove the first layer and then finish up the drawing, and then cut that layer out. Repeat until you've cut out all your pieces. To do an effect like the reflections in water, take a layer you want to be reflected, flip it down, and sketch what you want to be reflected. Then, if you put the reflection layer behind another piece of cardstock, it diffuses nicely, giving it the effect like it's a reflection. Pretty cool. You'll want to cut a piece of cardstock that will cover the pool of water. Make sure it extends to the edges or else it'll show when it's lit. So anyway, back to the building of this thing. Cut down foam core into 1/4 inch strips. I ended up needing 5 layers of foam core, so I cut 20 pieces, half being 6.5 inches long and the other half being 6 inches long. And then it's time to glue everything together. So when I got to the reflection layer, I realized I didn't film how to put the other layers together. But essentially, you just glue the strips of foam core around the edges, and then glue the next layer on. I have footage of this for the intermediate one that you can look at for reference because this process is the same for each one. Sorry about that. Thankfully though, I did film part of how to do the reflection layers. These layers use no foam core. You want to glue them straight onto each other. After you glue down the layer that has the pool of water, apply glue to the edges, and glue down the cardstock you cut to cover the pool directly on that previous layer. Then apply more glue around the edge and glue the reflection down. I did a reflection of part of the trees, so I glued that down directly on the previous layer like before. Once you have all your reflection layers down, then continue on with the foam core edges and cardstock layers until you're done. Measure the depth of your cardstock sandwich to determine how big you need your shadow box to be. Mine was a little under 1.5 inches. You want the box to be a little bit deeper than that to accommodate the light. I made mine 2 inches deep. Cut your wood. I just used plywood I had around the house. If you have wood strips already the depth that you desire, you can just skip straight to the miter cuts. Since my image is 6.5 by 6.5 inches, I want the inside of the box to be that big. So after cutting one edge of my plywood strip at a 45-degree angle, I measured 6.5 inches on the short face. Mark this point, and make sure to wrap around to mark on the edge. Throw the wood into your miter box, lining up with the 45-degree slit, and cut it. Repeat 4 times, and now you're ready to build. Apply glue to all the edges and fit together. I threw a piece of paper down to protect my workbench from glue. Tack the edges together with a few nails and let dry. If you happen to have a few little spots where it doesn't connect very well and you have little cracks, don't worry, you can easily fix that. Just squirt some glue into the crack and shove some sawdust into it. Let it dry and sand away the excess. Measure the total width and height of the box and cut one more piece of wood to that size. I used a thinner plywood that I had. Paint all the pieces, and once it's dry, it's time to assemble. Carefully push the inside into the box. It should be a pretty tight fit. If you think that it's a little loose, you can apply some glue to the edges like I did, but honestly, I don't think that I needed it because it was such a tight fit. You can also tack it down a little bit with hot glue once it's in place. Drill a 1.5 inch hole on the back piece for the power cord of the light to fit through. Time to put the lights in. These things are awesome. You can cut them to the size that you want, and they're self-adhesive. I picked these up on Amazon, and if you want some, I'll include an affiliate link in the description box below. You probably could also just use some Christmas lights if you don't want to buy anything like this. Cut these to size. You can tell where you can cut these by the little scissor graphic. Remove the adhesive backing and attach to the back. Drill some pilot holes for screws and screw the back on. Plug it in and admire your work. Now onto the intermediate one. You'll need white or off-white cardstock, an LED light strip, a ruler, a pencil, scissors, an X-Acto knife, foam core board, a store-bought shadow box, a drill, and a light box. First, paint the shadow box. You can paint the outside whatever you want, but paint the inside and the back piece white. I actually just ended up gluing a piece of cardstock onto my back piece. Print out the templates I'm providing. They're made for a 6.5 inch by 6.5 inch box, but you can scale them up or down. You can also use Photoshop or any kind of program like that has layers to draw up some of your own designs. I drew the bottom layer with a very light gray, and then the next a bit darker, and so on. And then, when I was ready to print, I made each layer black and printed them out. Use a light box to help trace these layers onto the cardstock. If you don't own a light box and you have a glass top table, you can just shine a lamp up through it and ta-da! Instant light box. I used to do this a lot when I was little with my parents' glass coffee table. If you don't have a glass top table, you can use your windows as a light box when it's sunny out. Now cut each layer out. Glue all the layers together like before. Glue some foam core around the edges and then move on to the next layer. Repeat until you're done and let dry. Before you put the layered images into the box, clean the inside of the glass. I totally forgot to do this part, and it's pretty much impossible for me to take the inside out without ruining it now. Now, carefully push the images into the shadow box. I pushed mine all the way until it touched the glass. Determine how long you need the lights and cut them to size. Remove the backing and stick into the light box. For this design, I wanted the light to come through the bottom of the box, so I stuck them there. Drill a hole into the back to fit the light's power cord. Thread it through and attach the back. Plug it in and enjoy. Last but not least, time for the easy one. You'll need white or off-white cardstock, LED light strip, a ruler, pencil, scissors, X-Acto knife, foam core board. For this version, you'll make the box with foam core board. It's not the sturdiest and it's pretty lightweight, but if you want to just whip up something really quick, this is a good option. Cut some foam core board to size. I was going to do a design with 3 layers, so I knew I didn't need something super deep. But I made them 2 inches deep anyway, and I made it about 6.5 inches by 6 inches. I cut the edges of the 2 longer sides a special way. About 1/4 inch in, I cut through 1 layer of the paper and the foam, and then carefully cut that part out so that there was still a tab of paper on the edge. Then I applied the glue to that area and attached the next side. I did it this way to cover the foam edges. It's totally optional, you could just glue them together like this, but I just liked how this looked. So glue all the pieces together and set aside to dry. You're going to want to cut another piece of foam core that's as big as the whole box for the back. Sketch your design out. For this one, I did a super easy constellation on 1 layer, and then a skyline with the constellation's name on the next. Don't forget to put that 1/4 inch border around each layer. I topped it with a layer that is just the 1/4 inch border. Cut and tape down the light. Cut a 1/2 inch hole in the back piece of the foam core, apply glue to the back edge of the box, thread the power cord through the back, and attach it. Plug it in, and you're done. hope you all enjoyed this project. If you did, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I post videos every Thursday. You can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Pinterest. If you have any questions or suggestions for future projects, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.